Well, okay. It's 10:02, so I think we will get started. I am Roberta Mancuso. I'm the Associate Publisher of New England Home Connecticut Magazine. I see that we have people joining us today from all over New England, so welcome to all of you. And because we have so many beautiful photos to share, I'm going to turn this right over to our Editor-in-Chief, Jenna Talbott.
Thanks, Roberta, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Welcome. As Roberta said, my name is Jenna Talbott, and I'm the Editor-in-Chief of New England Home and New England Home Connecticut. Joining me today are 6 distinguished design professionals who specialize in the unique finishing touches for the home. We've affectionately dubbed them the supporting cast because without them, the stars couldn't shine. And depending on your point of view, these custom details may indeed be the star, as you'll see in the inspiring images our panel is sharing today. For our designers in the audience, and there are a lot of you today, this is an opportunity to hear from the experts themselves, how they might partner with you to provide distinctive customization for your clients. Homeowners, this is a chance for you to perhaps learn more about what options are out there as you work with design professionals to perfect your home. As we go, if you have questions, please use the Q&A function, and I will do my best to get to as many of them as possible. We will be following up to all attendees with a link to this recorded presentation and links to each presenter's website. So if we don't get to something, you'll be able to connect with them afterwards. Each presenter will have 5 minutes to talk about their work, which should leave us some time at the end to answer additional questions. And now, let's begin our presentation with Heidi Holzer of Heidi Holzer Design and Decoration, who will enlighten us to the full and beautiful potential of our walls and ceilings. Take it away, Heidi.
Hi there. I'm Heidi Holzer of Heidi Holzer Decorative Work. And if you don't know me or don't know us, our company, we are an important tool in your resource box. We're decorative artists creating custom finishes for your walls and your ceilings. Walls and ceilings are terribly important and yet also terribly underrated and sometimes sadly even forgotten. So with all the projects that are being done right now out there, how do you as a designer or as a homeowner set your project apart? So we're here to support designers in finalizing projects that are beautiful, seamless, well thought out, and creatively custom by providing seamless, bespoke finishes. So we do that through collaboration. Referencing the elements that a designer has chosen for a project, we run through an assortment of samples that enhance or provide a backdrop for those elements, and then customize the project in color, texture, sometimes even combining different mediums to achieve the final result. So we offer lime plasters, Venetian plasters, light reflective finishes, hand-painted glazes, metal embedded plasters, and more. And they are all environmentally friendly. So we have some photographs to show you some of the things that we do. This is an example of a highly polished Venetian plaster, which is a multi-coat plaster that we then embedded stainless steel into. This was designed for a designer's project that wanted something special to maybe hide that big screen TV that was going into the center and yet create something very appealing that was also more cost effective than putting stone on the wall, and also more unexpected and more beautiful in my opinion. We can go to the next one. Here you see the importance of a ceiling being finished. The walls have wallpaper. And if you can picture that this ceiling, if it was just painted white, how bland it would be. Instead, we have an Italian plaster that has an iridescent finish that is applied with a trowel to give great movement and depth. We ended up also designing and doing finishes on existing pieces that the client had in the room to house china and other things. So some of these photographs that you'll see are works in progress. Some were finished jobs too. So here, this was just done in Manhattan for a designer, an influencer, in fact, for her own home. And what she wanted to achieve here was have the lighter color of the color gradation, this hand painted color gradation, be done in the hallway. And as it moved through the room, the darker colors had more prominence. They started to come up much higher behind the bed that had the dark blue in it as well. So there was this lovely movement and hand rendered quality to the room that was truly just her own design. This is Venetian plaster, a different product than what you saw on the first slide. This has 6 coats of plaster and 2 coats of wax, all applied here instead of the traditional knife work that you saw on the first slide. This is done in a dragged knife work, so giving a different type of depth. And as you can see, it was custom colored to work with the art piece that is left of the door, custom colored, and also has that same kind of feeling. This house is on the water in Westport, and they wanted the interior to reflect the elements as well and bring them in. This is a custom finish that we just recently started doing as well, and we've done a number of jobs already. It is a highly reflective, pearlized material that is almost a hybrid between paint and plaster. But what makes this unique as well is that glass beads have been embedded into the glaze and then dragged in a crosshatch manner with a special tool from Italy that gives it this lovely effect and creates this highly reflective finish that actually has a texture to it, is very neutral for artwork and other elements. All of these jobs, by the way, can be custom colored to your specifications. And that's what I meant earlier by saying we take all of the elements that are in the room and then we become an integral part of those elements in creating a backdrop or enhancing all of these elements by creating the perfect finish for your walls. This is an example of something done to work with the artwork as well. This is Venetian plaster, but what we call a linen Venetian. This is a proprietary technique that I've developed and that we've done on a number of jobs, creating a texture, right? Recognizing how the material works and then playing with that to enhance it. Again, this wall was done to highlight this artwork. And as you can see, it does just that. It makes the artwork pop and yet creates a whole background wall that draws you into the artwork. And we think this is very important. We've worked with many, many important pieces of art and art collectors in creating finishes that in fact enhance their artwork, as well as all of the surroundings. You can see how this works with that beautiful table from Holland, the chairs as well. And this is just an example of how individual and bespoke each of the finishes that we do can be. Hand painted stripes. We've done this in a number of manners, and by hand painted, each of these stripes, some are stippled, some are drawn by hand. It's done as a layered technique. It's seamless. It's wonderful for applications also, in this case, in a bathroom too. There are no seams to lift. There's no matching problems. It can be sealed, but it can be individualized to each client. In this case, they wanted very particular colors. They wanted to have the silver stripes as opposed to gold that we have done previously in order to work with the artwork within the room. And we were able to do that and customize it for the scale of the wall as well. And this is something that we can do with great ease. We have a highly trained staff that has done many, many projects. We always meet our project deadlines as well, which is also kind of amazing. We come in at the end of a project. So by then, homeowners, designers, they're usually ready to have everybody out, and we're able to do these final touches. And most of our clients are sad to see us go.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Heidi. I'm going to stop you there because it's time, but this is beautiful. And I love the idea that this can enhance an art collection as well. So now we're going to
Jenna?
talk, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that we are now once again conducting live portfolio reviews in our Reading studio as we've been vaccinated. And we strongly encourage people to just set up a 30-minute portfolio review. Our studio is also our lab and our showroom. We've got hundreds of finishes, and we'd be delighted to have people schedule those reviews.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. So now we'll talk to Charles Camacho, the senior lighting designer with Circa Lighting. And this is just as important. If you enhance your walls and ceilings, how will it be lit? So Charles.
Thanks, Jenna.
Sure.
As mentioned, I'm Charles Camacho, the senior lighting designer with Circa Lighting. If y'all are not familiar with Circa Lighting, we are the distribution arm of Visual Comfort and Company, made up of Visual Comfort, the decorative line, but also Tech Lighting, the architectural line. I work specifically on the architectural side, creating the lighting effects that go with the decorative lighting. So for those of you that don't know really what architectural lighting is, that's lighting that is built into your home versus decorative lighting that's attached to the home. And we typically will get in on a project early on before rough-in to help the builder and installer with the housings and any kind of electrical support that they need. What I'm going to be talking about today are a few ways to take your architectural lighting to the next level. Go to the next slide. So one of the ways that we can do this is with your actual ceiling plane. There are many builders still in the multi-million-dollar homes that are using a 6-inch recessed light with a large trim on it. And many times it's just because they don't know better. That's what they've used in the past. That's what their electrician is comfortable with. And really, I think that's the main reason, is that they just don't know there's another option. We are addressing the ceiling and creating what we call a quiet ceiling, meaning we do not want your eye so much drawn to the lights. We are trying to create the effect from the light. And a way that we do this is going smaller, away from the 6-inch aperture, more towards a standard 3-inch. And we are reducing the ceiling penetration, if you will, and also reducing the amount of real estate that we're using on the ceiling by eliminating the flange. On the picture on the left, we have a standard plaster ceiling, and we have recessed lights that are mud in. They are put in after the drywall. There's a mud in plate, and they're floated to the opening. Then the trim pops in after that. With all of these mud in or trimless features, the components inside the ceiling can still fit down through that hole. So everything is still completely serviceable. On the upper right hand, and I guess lower right hand as well, is that we have a wood trimless feature that is pretty unique in our industry and adds a little bit more sophistication to lighting in a wood ceiling, where the actual fixture does not break the ceiling plane. Let's go to the next one, please. In addition to addressing the clean aspect of the ceiling, another sophisticated approach to architectural lighting is grouping of the recessed lights, whether it's multiple individual lights that are grouped together to create sets, or fixtures that have multiple apertures built inside of them. This allows the designer, interior designer, to have a little bit more design aesthetic in the ceiling versus your typical 4 cans and a fan layout, where we're bringing high design to the ceiling plane as well, but also incorporating the ambient light, the task light, and the different levels or layers of light. The next guy, please. One of the other things, in addition to recessed light that's still considered architectural lighting, is LED tape light. And we can use this in a bunch of different ways. Backlit mirrors, having light underneath a vanity. In this picture on the left, one of the things that we're leveraging is the texture on the wall. If we can graze a texture with light, we are really allowing that material to express itself to its full extent. And this is where a lighting designer working with an interior designer really has a powerful punch, in that with light, we can actually make some of the interior designer elements pop more than with just a blanket of light from the ceiling. On the picture to the right, we have a fireplace, and then there's a highly textured wall to the left. And we're using a grazing effect with a kind of a narrow beam of light to create highlights and shadows. This is just another way that we can use light in the home to create different layers of light, but also when light comes from the home has a little bit more life to it.
Okay, so Charles, for your last two, I love this human-centric lighting. Can you tell us what you can in 1 minute?
Okay, human-centric lighting is light that changes per how we experience the day. Essentially, it's a white tuning or circadian rhythm, where we have a warm light that is very calming, a blue light that is very energetic. And by adjusting the color and intensities of light in the home, we can affect people's moods. And this can be through different programming. You can program the light to be warm in the morning, cool in the afternoon, warm at night. And that is light that your body is used to through the daily cycle, and just helps you regulate your moods and operation during the day. We'll do the next slide real quick. Operational control, dimming protocols, and scene control. With smart lighting now, we have the ability to not only turn on and off and dim switches or lights, we have the ability to group them and create scenes. We can have calm, soothing scenes, we can have dinner scenes, we can have cleaning scenes, and it really takes the user experience to the next level to be able to control all aspects of the lighting in their home with different scene controls. And this is through IoT, your phone integration with smart lighting, keypads, or panel systems. There are many different ways that you can get to scene control with lighting in your home.
Excellent. Thank you, Charles. I really, the human-centric lighting has always been really interesting to me, because light does affect your mood. So thank you so much. Now, the next speaker we'll hear from is Karen Berkemeyer, kitchen designer, president of Karen Berkemeyer Home. Also a very important part of the home that affects your mood as well, the heart of the home. Take it away, Karen.
Hi, I'm Karen Berkemeyer, the owner of Karen Berkemeyer Home. We are a cabinetry, we specialize in cabinetry and tile design, but we also include countertops and plumbing fixtures, so that we can be a kind of a one-stop shop for a client, which makes the process very easy and fun, enjoyable. They're working with one person through the whole selection process, which people really enjoy. The slides that you're going to see are quite a variety, but mostly have been a collaboration with interior designers and architects, which we love to do. So we hope to share the ideas that we have come up with all together as a great collaboration. So this is a kind of a white kitchen that they're still very popular, but we're starting to mix it with more textures, different color. In this case, we have a rustic wood hood and cabinetry in the island mixed with the simple white shaker cabinets. We've also included some new concepts we're doing. On the right, you'll see floating shelves. We did a herringbone tile on a backsplash and ran it up to the ceiling which is a backdrop to the floating shelves. And the island has a quartz countertop with what we call a waterfall edge. The quartz is mitered and comes down to the floor, covering the sides of the cabinetry. Now, the other thing in this that has been very popular, we're using black hardware on the cabinetry and probably focusing more on pulls rather than knobs today. Okay, we can do the next slide. This is another white kitchen, but now we've gone with more color. So we've mixed white with a very historic green color for some of the cabinetry. And then we paired it with a very interesting water jet stone mosaic. We did the entire back feature wall behind the hood and behind the floating shelves, which pulls all the colors of the kitchen into that backsplash, kind of ties everything together. Okay. This is a very traditional kitchen. We did black cabinetry. We did glass on the back wall to lighten the cabinetry so it wouldn't feel heavy. The countertop, the higher countertop on the island is actually is marble with a 2-inch mitered edge. And then we did a drop down on the right of a 4-inch walnut butcher block on a stainless steel base for more preparation, which is right behind your range. The backsplash is a rustic white subway tile with a lot of texture. And we ran that on the entire wall and over the cabinetry. You can see a bit of the reflection to the right of the window. Now this contrasts with the very traditional that you just saw to a very modern kitchen. So this client wanted modern, sleek, simple. We used a textured laminate on the cabinetry. You can see the waterfall edge. The back wall is of the floating shelves is all like a mosaic backsplash. The floor is a porcelain that actually looks like cement, but it's a large scale porcelain, which is on the floor in this picture. And we can see the waterfall edges on the counter on the island. We have this very interesting line of outdoor kitchens that are completely waterproof. They're made with a resin that can withstand literally any, you can put it in the snow, it can be covered in a snowbank and then thaw and still look the same. Rain, really no elements will affect the cabinetry. The floor that we used here is it's an outdoor porcelain paver that is 3/4 of an inch thick. So it can be used instead of bluestone. It's completely non-porous and it comes in a variety of colors and it's totally frost-proof. So you can use it anywhere outdoors in any New England kitchen that you are working on. This is a master bath that we did with floating drawers, and the top drawer on the left and the top right are all cut out inside for your plumbing so that you get storage in every single drawer will have storage. We've maximized the space, and then the cabinet floats so it has this very airy feeling. The entire wall, kind of hard to tell in the slide, but it is a mother of pearl mosaic, which is the entire back wall. And we've mixed metals, as you can see as well, the hardware and the lighting, we've mixed metals with that. We have two spaces that we identified as, it's actually one large room, but two spaces, one being the laundry room and the other being the mud room. But we kind of separated it by a wing wall in color. So the left, we did white cabinetry with shiplap on the back. On the right, we did a suede gray laminate cabinet, raised the countertops higher to run a countertop across the washer and dryer. And the floor is a tumbled marble, which is coming back, 4x12 tumbled marble done in a herringbone pattern. And on the right, you can see some of the accessories. You have a pull-out ironing board that you then push in when you're finished ironing. And then over the sink is a LED lit glass shelf so that your lighting for the sink in the laundry room is lit by that shelf.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Karen. I love the variation you can bring to a white kitchen on these beautiful subtleties. And of course, we're talking a little bit about flooring and with our next speaker, but the tumbled marble that you pointed out that is coming back. So speaking of beauty underfoot, we're going to speak with Lauren Lefkowitz of Prosource of Stamford. Lauren?
Hi, everybody. My name's Lauren Lefkowitz, and I'm the manager of Prosource. Prosource is wholesale distribution of floor covering materials, as well as kitchen and bath in both the commercial and residential space. We have one location in Stamford, and we also have 2 locations in Massachusetts, one in Canton and one in Woburn. But Prosource is part of a larger franchise, so we can ship all over the country. We sell everything from builder grade to high-end custom in the categories of carpet, wood, tile, and vinyl, making us a one-stop shop for renovations. And today I'm here to educate the design professional, specifically in indoor and outdoor carpeting and engineered floorings. So as we move into summer, what's better to talk about than indoor-outdoor carpeting? As you can see in the first slide, the same carpet is used in 2 different applications, one as an indoor runner and one as a carpet on an outdoor deck. That's because technical advances have made it so the polypropylene that used to be used in outdoor carpeting that was very plasticky and very slippery feeling now more closely resembles wool. So these new indoor-outdoor rugs have become a really big trend. They are great for families with young kids. They're great for families with pets because they're extremely durable. They're resistant to chemicals, including bleach. They easily repel stains, and they're easy to clean. In fact, a lot of the wool manufacturers, the high-end wool manufacturers that we sell at Prosource are moving into this indoor-outdoor carpeting realm because it's such a great product for all different purposes. And there are tons of different styles and different colors to choose from as well. If you go into the next slide, so you look at these 2 beautiful kitchens and you look at the floor and you see these 12 by 24 stone tiles, except they're not porcelain, they're not ceramic, they're actually vinyl. Vinyl has become a really hot commodity, not only because it looks so real. In fact, a lot of times you have to actually get on the ground to feel the material to see what it is, if it's wood, if it's stone, and you can't tell unless you actually get on the ground and feel the material. But the vinyl, what's so nice about it is that it's a lot warmer and a lot softer under your foot. So you don't have to worry about your back hurting after hours of cooking. There's no more dirty grout lines. And you don't have to worry about cracked tile if you by accident drop a pot or a pan on the ground. In addition, it's waterproof and it's extremely resistant to scratches. In fact, a lot of this floor covering is used commercially now. So it's another great alternative for families with children, with a lot of pets. The next slide is vinyl, but this is a wood application. The vinyl looks like wood. Traditionally in gyms, people have been using rubber tiles or they've been using different kinds of wood. Bamboo has been a big use in yoga studios. However, people are straying away from that now and moving towards vinyl. Because it has such great properties. Again, it's waterproof, so you don't have to worry about moisture in a basement. Typically the vinyl has padding on the back, so it acts as a natural insulator, and it's warm, it's easy to work out on, and also it makes for great playrooms for children. So it's become very popular for basements and gyms, home gyms. The next slide shows engineered wood flooring. So New England is probably the last place in the world that uses primarily solid wood. Everywhere else uses engineered wood flooring for a variety of reasons. First of all, the trend is now to have really long and really wide planks. It doesn't matter the size of the room. People want to see the graining. They don't want to see the choppiness of narrow, thin boards. In fact, on the right, you see boards that are 9.5 wide by 82 long. This would not be achievable in a solid wood floor because it would warp. Wood is not stable. So in order to make the wood stable, they make it engineered so that the top layer is the wood, and then underneath the layers are perpendicular to the top layer so that the wood can't expand and contrast. It also makes the wood a lot more affordable. These extremely long and wide boards are really expensive to mine, and also they're really expensive to manufacture. Only a small portion, as you can imagine, of the tree can really be used for these long and wide boards. So using engineered wood makes it so that it becomes more affordable because the wood can yield a lot more flooring. And also it's a lot more environmental. Another big trend of that's happening right now is pattern floors. As you can see on the left, it's what you would call a contemporary parquet. And what's nice about engineered flooring is that the patterns come in the engineered flooring. The engineered flooring comes in these patterns. The boards will be named A or B, or they'll come as strips in the parquet. And so the installer no longer needs to cut and finagle all the boards, making it much easier and also a much less expensive installation. A lot of people have been hesitant to use these engineered wood floorings because of the preconceived notion that you can't sand and refinish them. However, nowadays, these woods, a lot of what's so special about them is the texture. And so you don't want to resand and refinish them. A lot of installers or a lot of refinishers are moving towards what you call screen coating, much like you do on drywall, where you scuff up the top layer and then put another layer on top in order to refinish them. And this can, be achieved with engineered flooring because the actual wood is not even touched. The last trend that I wanted to talk about is herringbone in the last slide. Both the left and the right shows herringbone, bringing the trends together. The right is vinyl and the left is actually engineered hardwood. And as you can see, there's also using herringbone in the fireplace as well. Herringbone is being used in a variety of different places. As Karen showed, it's using it as a backsplash. It's being used floor covering. It's being used in bathrooms, even carpets. It's really a big trend of the spring, summer of 2021. And that's pretty much all of my education for today. Thank you all for listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the Q&A box, and or you can reach out to me personally. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. That was a lot of education, a lot of information there. I'm intrigued by vinyl in workout spaces. I think that that makes a lot of practical sense for a lot of reasons. Okay, we're going to stick to floors a little bit longer, and we're going to talk with Gary Shafran, principal of L&M Custom Carpets and Rugs. Gary.
Good morning, Gary Shafran, principal of L&M Custom Carpets and Rugs. Started out in 2012, and a focus has been on Fairfield County, Connecticut. A number of the looks have really worked out quite well in the area. You'll see through these slides that there are a number of different constructions. The main one that we seem to be known for is the casual flat weave construction. We happen to have one of the largest selections in the industry, even though we're a small company, and everything is sold to the trade. Nothing is sold online. Nothing is sold to the general public. Recently, we have partnered up with a showroom in White Plains, New York, called Cantor's Carpet and Design. They have the full line of L&M carpets. Through Cantor's, we offer not only delivery, but also fabrication, installation on stairs, wall to wall. We're working really along the eastern seaboard, have shipped out rugs out west as well. We have 3 operation managers in India. They are doing better. They are still working in India. We are helping them with some prepayments to help the workers that are out sick. They are our partners, and we'll start with the slides. So we were very fortunate to have a very, we'll say, famous designer from New York City contact us because they saw that we do very wide seamless rugs in a very short time frame. So this is a flat weave out in the Hamptons where there is that very big trend of New York residents with homes in the Hamptons moving out there for a while, we'll say. This was a 19.5-foot wide by 25-foot long flat weave that was made in 8 weeks, was folded and air freighted in to the warehouse in White Plains and installed. Again, a size like that could not be done normally machine made, but handmade it can be done, and it can be done in that short time frame. All of the flat weaves that we offer are available in what we consider the standard New Zealand wool, which is a very fine and soft wool. They also are available in polyester for an indoor-outdoor, heavier, softer construction than the other indoor-outdoor rugs that are in the marketplace. And then for budget purposes, we also offer an Indian wool, which is substantially less than the New Zealand wool, but still offers many of the benefits of wool, just a little bit coarser in yarn. Next slide, please. So this is an example of 2 different rugs that work together in a very large room in Dobbs Ferry. The dining room rug is a multi-pile height, sort of a loom knot where you have the background is a shaded plane, and then the top pattern works with the other elements of the room. And then the second rug at the top of the page is what we call a cleanable tencel, which is quite interesting. The tencel rugs that are out there, viscose rugs, banana silk, bamboo silk, they're all a version of rayon. They all have the wonderful sheen at a very affordable price, but they also have major issues when it comes to staining, cleaning, etc. We developed a micropolyester that mimics the patterns and not all, but most of the sheen of the tencel, yet it is completely cleanable, and it is actually much less money than the viscose and tencel rugs that are out there. The key thing with all of these rugs is that everything is made to size, 1 rug at a time on a loom. Nothing is cut out of a master roll and there's working loss or anything like that. This is all custom color, custom size, custom shape. Next slide, please. This is another residence in Westchester. And as you can see, we go from a very modern room setting to something more traditional. We all love dogs, so to have the dog just walk into the picture, we kept it. We do a lot of stripes in the flat weaves. And again, what a designer can do is they could change the scale of the stripe. Other than the colors, other than the sizes, they could really customize it as much as they'd like to. There are no upcharges for any of the customization. Strike-offs or complimentary renderings are offered. And again, we do a lot of fabrication around fireplaces where the rug is actually hand cut and then hand sewn with the same yarn that the plants in India have used to do the other edges. Next slide, please. Again, a more casual, great room, living room, open floor plan. This is down in Florida, one of our better selling patterns. And as you can see, another stripe, hard to see there, but there were 3 different grays that are blended to give it depth. And that's one of the other things that has been a very big trend, the idea of not offering 2-color rugs, but the idea of a solid color with a blend of 2, 3, and 4 colors to achieve some different, type of looks. Next slide, please. And this is another picture of a room setting in Greenwich with another design partner that we've done a lot of work with. And this also is a picture of that cleanable tencel. So you have a one color rug that's made on a loom. And what they end up doing is they go back and they shear it to make a abstract stripe. So certain areas are left in micro loops, other areas are sheared down to give it a cut pile effect, and the light plays with it to give it different shades, making it look like a multicolor rug, even though it's only one color. And in the same way, but in a much more sophisticated way, what Heidi was showing earlier with a pattern that, can be a neutral, but is not a solid color rug. That's what a rug like this and a construction like this tries to achieve.
That's excellent. It's very dynamic. Thanks,
Thank you.
Gary. Okay, so we have one more presenter left, and I'll be watching the Q&A box. If anyone has any questions that they're going to be wanting to ask of our panelists, you can get them ready. You can type them in as we go. We'll hope to have about 10 minutes to answer questions after we hear from Leisa Coyle, the bath design specialist from Bender Showrooms. Welcome, Leisa.
Thanks, Jenna. Hi, my name is Leisa Coyle. I am a decorative bath, tile, and cabinet specialist with Bender Showrooms. I am also the display manager for our showroom locations here in Connecticut, hubbed out of our New Haven location. We work hand in hand with the homeowners, the designers, builders, and developers to identify not just what they want, but what they need. Together, we deliver creative solutions for comfortable living. With our first slide, we are seeing that color is making a comeback, taking a step away from just the neutral creams and whites and grays. We're seeing more color coming to the show. In clawfoot and pedestal tubs, showing more modern shades. The introduction also of more opulent and regal tones in plums and indigos and lavenders, from tubs to farmhouse kitchen sinks. If you mix those with brass tones, you can make any house feel like a royal palace. In our next slide, we see a touchless kitchen faucet. Kitchen faucets that allow for wave activation as well as Alexa-enabled commands allow for the home chef or the professional chef to clean sticky chicken-covered hands without actually having to touch a faucet. Health and safety have been a very big focus for us in the last 18 months, especially, but technology has been a big feature in kitchen and bath fixtures for years. We're just seeing more of it now. The middle of the night baby bottle, being able to have the faucet automatically fill a bottle, or you're in the middle of getting ready for a gathering and you need to make the lemonade, telling the faucet to fill the pitcher to 18 ounces, and it will do it without you having to touch it. On our next show, we've got intelligent toilets. Intelligent toilets are, the ultimate clean toilet. The seat will rise upon approach. They will flush themselves. So not only are you getting a nice heated, warm bidet washlet seat within the toilet itself, but you're also looking at the reduction of waste and need for toilet paper. They offer great health and hygiene benefits, as well as amazing environmental benefits by not having more waste. There are options of the full intelligent toilet that will more or less do everything for you except for do your laundry, or having just the ability to add a washlet seat to an existing toilet. As long as you have electrical access behind the toilet itself, this is an upgrade that can be made to a regular toilet. We are looking at, on our next slide, this amazing garden feel. Home spas. Home spas are on the rise. We have become more in tune to our senses and emotionally attached to our homes and their capabilities for the safety and comfort. With more time being spent at home than ever before, It's the perfect time to create a spa-inspired sanctuary retreat right in your own home. Rain showers can help create a gentle, natural feeling of falling water, like standing out in a summer rainstorm, giving that one with nature experience. While this is set to be a large panel rain shower coming from the ceiling, a regular homeowner could have that spa experience simply by changing the shower arm and shower head in a regular shower. So making this upgrade is something that is attainable for all budget types. In our next slide, we'll see a more in-depth spa experience upgrade that is on the rise as of late: steam showers. Steam showers offer a huge variety of health benefits. A fully glass encased space offers vast varieties of benefits, both physically and emotionally. As steam fills the space, it pulls away your stresses. It improves circulation and cardiovascular health, detoxifies the skin and muscles from impurities and aches, and helps to fight off colds, and as we're all experiencing now, the effects of allergies. And last but not least, we are seeing an amazing mixture of elements happening within the faucetry world. We have seen more shapes and options to faucet handles with crosses, levers, spokes, and cube shapes in recent years. But in current market trends, we're seeing more incorporation of raw materials, like shown here on the left in wood and on the right in mother of pearl. There are such a variety of ways that you can draw out the style and the interchangeable options of the handles, this showing the same faucet with the two varieties of handles. In our next slide, we're also seeing the incorporation of marble in a more traditional side. In both kitchens and bath fixtures, mixed elements allow each buyer the opportunity to make it their own, to customize shapes and materials to suit their tastes and styles. Rugged concrete mixed with knurled textures for a masculine vibe versus mother of pearl or marble with softened curves for a more feminine approach. There are options for all tastes. The world of decorative plumbing has changed drastically over the last several years. And it really is there really are pieces of jewelry that can go into your kitchens and your bathrooms. It is not just about function, it is about fashion as well. But function is really important because we use our bathrooms and we use our toilets and we use our sinks and we use our faucets in our kitchens. So we want them to work really well. And at Bender, we really would enjoy having you come in and work with us on your next adventures. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Leisa. They truly are jewels of the home. I actually could see myself wearing those marble fixtures right there. We actually have a question for you right away, and then we have another one for Gary, which I'll get to in a second. But this is a question that I have too from Lynn Gorelick. Kitchen faucets, are they both manually and remotely usable? Like, can you turn off the remote function if you want to operate it by hand?
It does depend on the manufacturer. Certain manufacturers are operatable only by sensor, while others are, you can turn the handle at any time and they will activate with regular touch use or touchless use.
Okay. I think that's really fantastic to actually be able to say, fill this pitcher 18 ounces or whatever too, because then you don't have to get out a separate thing to measure. Excellent. Okay. Thank you. So now, Gary, I think you saw this one, but this is a good one, and any of the rest of you can chime in once Gary has answered this. Are your lead times affected by the current pandemic? I did see
we have been very fortunate in that we work with 6 different plants in India and 2 in Nepal. Obviously, all of the populations in both countries are affected by, the tragedy that we see on the news every day. But most of the factories that we work with in India are in very remote areas in the mountains. It was slow to affect those areas, but now it's affected them as well. So what happens is every week, the government tells those plants how many days they're able to operate. Remember, these are people that need to work. These are people that want to work, and yet they have to be as safe as possible. So our normal production time for a handmade rug is usually 8 weeks. And if somebody is nice to me, we could actually do it in 6 weeks if needed. But what my managers in India have told me based on their visits and conversations with these plants is that instead of the usual 8 weeks, we're now in the 10-week range. Everything is then air freighted out, unless it's a very large rug that can't be folded, then it goes on a boat. But just to give everybody an understanding that you're talking about literally the other side of the world, whether it's rugs, furniture, or any of the components that everybody works with. And every day something new happens. We had 3 very large rugs scheduled to go on a vessel last week. Turns out there is a typhoon going on in the Indian Ocean. Now, designers need to understand that these things happen. These are not excuses. This is the reality of dealing with places all over the world. And the homeowner also needs to understand that these are not vendors that are just making up excuses why the items are not coming in on time. These are real world issues, and we can't really do that much about it. But that's where we are.
That's really excellent to remind everyone listening. We got a couple other great questions I want to get to. Let's see. For Charles, this is a good one. For recessed ceiling lights, are you finding that square shapes are trending over the round ones, or any difference there?
Absolutely. Just 10 years ago, the 6-inch recessed light was the go-to for most houses. Now, we're getting smaller, but we're also going into squares. But I think the biggest differentiator is the style of architecture, the style of interior. Rounds are more traditional. Squares can be more contemporary, unless you have a traditional coffered ceiling. Then you can put a square in there and it'll take on the traditional aspect. But in general, squares are contemporary and rounds are traditional.
Great. Thanks, Charles. Okay, we've got one for Lauren. Back on the vinyl floors, or I'm sorry, I think it's engineered wood floors. An interior designer is asking, has the quality improved over the last few years? She's experienced that they scratch very easily. Would you like to?
Well, the quality, I mean, you pay for what you get, obviously. The quality has definitely improved. A lot of times, the one thing about engineered flooring is that's a preconceived notion, because if you do a typical sand and finish on the job site, you're only staining and putting polyurethane on 3 coats. When you do an engineered floor, most of them are pre-finished. So they're going through the machine at a factory 7 or 8 times to put these coatings on. A lot of times they're made of ceramic, the coatings, and so they, they're extremely hard. So the answer is yes, they have made a lot more strides, but pre-finished flooring is going to be ultimately stronger than unfinished on the job site floor covering.
Great, thank you. And now this one's for Gary too. I think you saw it, Gary. What's the best carpet material for a home with a cat and high traffic? Best way to clean it too.
I think that the indoor-outdoor construction, whether for a budget with the polypropylene or, for a little bit of a step up in polyester, is the type of fibers to use. But really more important than that is the type of weave. We do a lot of shaded plain wools that, because they are woven without any floats, without any fibers popping up to make a design, they are very durable in wool as well. Wool has a natural oil in it called lanolin that if you get to the stain quickly, you can get the stain out. So to me, it's definitely the fiber, but it's also the type of pattern, and a plain weave pattern is the safest in terms of, scratching and all.
Great, thank you, Greg. Now I have a question for Heidi. Back on one of the things that you shared with us, one of the techniques with the glass beads. Now
Yes.
the glass beads aren't actually, they don't become a part of that wall. It's what you're using to create that texture, correct? Can you explain that a little bit?
Sure. No, the glass beads are actually within the material that gets applied to the wall. So the glass beads become part of the texture that's actually on your wall.
So there's a little bit of reflection there.
Oh, yeah. And the glass beads come in different sizes also. So we can have a finer texture or something that's a little bit more pronounced. So it's not only is it creating the texture, but to your point too, it's also offering this level of light refraction too, as the light reflects off of the glass beads combined with the pearlized finish.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Thank
And
you.
I think one of the things we talked about in a rehearsal, I was curious, is, and I think for most of you, in terms of when you join the process and the customization of a home, it sounds like it's, you know, sooner the better, but do you have anything you'd like to say to the designers in our audience today about when they're interested in what you offer for services, when that they should get in touch?
We often come into a project before, as construction is actually beginning. We've been in on projects very early in the process. But sometimes designers or homeowners may need us to come in a little bit later when they already have the room, the other elements for an area. So, but it is good for us to come in earlier because we can talk about the technical possibilities. We offer some products that, for instance, a faux concrete or any number of other products like a faux travertine, where then the construction is affected because the substrate doesn't need to be supported, which cuts down on construction costs and also allows them a possibility going forward of a certain thickness, working with the floor materials. So everybody's different, but it's good to come in at the beginning so that they can see what the possibilities are. We can run through a lot of samples, and sometimes that then sparks the process.
Excellent. Okay, and I actually have a question for Karen. I spend a lot of time in my kitchen now, as many of us have. 3 meals a day are coming out of that kitchen, usually made by me. What have you noted in the past year, if anything, in terms of changes in what your clients and designers are asking for in terms of function in the kitchen? Anything different?
Probably countertops that are more durable, you know, using quartz, which are non-porous. We've been doing a lot of pouring on these days because you can do a 14-foot island without any seams in it, which is really quite desirable. And it's non-porous, it's not shiny, it gives you that honed, understated look, which people like. So those countertops, that's a very big change from doing marble and doing granite.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, let's see. Oops, we have one more question that just came up. Oh, and the question is, could we have the contact information for each of the presenters today? And the answer is yes. We're going to follow up because I know that people will be, as they go about their day, have additional questions that they think of. We are now at 11 o'clock, which is usually about the time we all turn into pumpkins while on a Zoom. They usually expire about an hour. And we will be following up with a recording of this presentation if you'd like to go back and view it, and also how to reach each of our presenters today. So thank you so much, everyone. This was jam-packed with information, and I hope that each of you continue to have very busy spring and summer seasons. So take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's awesome.